Well, now we'll have the last presentation today of LACNIC Technical Forum. The presentation now is the quality of service. This had been submitted previous by Fran František Borsig. He's the operations manager that promotes ISPs globally. He's worked in different companies and he's an active member in the world of the networks and wireless technology and ISPs. Frank will be giving this presentation remotely to answer questions or to make comments at the end of the presentation. Thank
But we hope to come over to Latin America for the first time ever, sometime in the future, for any LACNIC, NOC, or ISP event. So LibreQoS is on the mission to save the world. Robert Chacon, an ISP in West Texas, started the whole thing during COVID when he saw the problem on his network where suddenly everybody was at home and so many people were forced to for work online, right, using Zoom and all the other video conferencing tools, Teams, Google Meet. And the networks, especially the residential one, were not ready for such task. So he put together a relatively simple Python script with FQ and he shared it with the world on GitHub, right? And Dave, he was that famous fighter against bufferball, latency, and jitter since he discovered this plague of the internet while he was living in Nicaragua. He started to work with Jim Geddes that actually coined the term bufferball. And when he saw this amazing thing put together by Robert, he decided to join him and help. Herbert Wolverson, he's our chief product officer, and he is an ISP in central Missouri, long-term contributor to many open source projects, and he saw that amazing LibreQoS thingy, and he understood that he and his network, his subscribers, his customers that are dependent on him actually need that. And because he is that really good Rust programmer, he decided to rewrite the whole thing into Rust with cooperation. In cooperation with Dave, they exchange or they replace FQ with Cake. And sometime in the summer of 2022, Dave, that was my friend at the time, and I decided to help him with his bufferball efforts. He told me about LibreQoS, and I understood that this is something that the world was looking for. Right? So, from my point of view, it's a force multiplier because when you have a quality of experience on your network, then it can fix the whole network. So if you have a few hundred or few thousand subscribers, suddenly the internet start functioning well, even in this like interactive world, in the world of interactive traffic, with almost everything that we do today on the internet is interactive. So it's not bandwidth dependent as such, but it's latency dependent. So there's the bufferball problem, and there are still people that will say that bufferball problem doesn't exist. But you as an ISP network operator, you might experience that people are calling you. Most of the time in the past, it was mostly or only gamers that were complaining about such thing. But during COVID, when people were forced to do a lot of things online, especially interactive video conferencing and so on. Everybody became a canary in a coal mine. Everybody started to complain, and there was no way for the ISPs to replace all the routers in their networks, and it was similarly impossible to really deliver so much bandwidth to all the people, right? So solutions for this latency, jitter, and buffer ball problem in general are well known for many years. These are algorithms CODEL, FQ CODEL, and Cake. So CODEL was first started by Van Jacobson and Katie Nichols, and our Dave Tech was working on CODEL as well. FQ CODEL was improvement on top of CODEL, and it added a better timing algorithm and started to track packets per flow. So it was actually fair queuing. And then there was a significant improvement followed shortly, and it was called Cake. These three algorithms are 100% open source. They are included in Linux kernel, in OpenWRT, and in many other operating systems out there. So flow queuing is almost enough today to solve most of the issues with Bufferball Online. And for example, even though you might still like bandwidth, or you want to increase the bandwidth that you are delivering to your customers, you need to understand that most of the time the peak that your customers are using will be somewhere between 6 to 10 megabits. So general advice for people to solve bufferball latency and jitter problem was that they should either install OpenWRT, so flash their own old router, or they should get OpenWRT router, and there will be some examples shared by the end of my talk. And they can configure Cake SQM on them, or they can have FQ CODEL. However, it can be done even in other way. Unfortunately, we have so many vendors out there that are bragging that they have the biggest buffers in the industry. I don't want to name names, but you can imagine some of the biggest names that are producing routers, and it's not good. Doxys itself has a Doxy Spy, and there is L4S as a potential solution for networks out there, promoted by Cable Labs and Comcast, Apple, Fastly, and so on. But we do believe that everybody should have Cake, and therefore Cake is part of LibreQoS. SQM is SQS problems for ISPs is that it requires routers to be changed for the most part, or flashed with OpenWRT. But LibreQoS middlebox, when it's in the literally middle of your network, it will act as a policeman. It will police the traffic, so like everything will be working well. Typical customer response with LibreQoS on the network is almost no download active and upload active latency, which is amazing. The idle latency, you can have it, but the important one is latency under load. So there are obviously challenges with what we are doing, and one of them is Linux traffic control is unfortunately single-threaded. But there is XDP CPU map that's it's part of XDP project, and it's running eBPF programs per packet that are passing to the kernel, and it helps us to overcome this problem with scaling traffic across CPU cores. So LibreQoS can model the and manage a network with 8 hops deep. So you might have many sites and pops down up to the customer premise, and we can still model it in our network. So we are working currently on LibreQoS 1.5 update. It's currently in beta, and it will add many important features for your network. We are also tracking real-time flow, and people can see, for example, how the customer traffic. So this is a view of the customer router basically. So you see where their traffic is going, and there is something that we don't do compared to some of the other quality of experience solutions out there, and that's DPI. We don't do deep packet inspection, and even without DPI, you are able to manage the flow of traffic at your customers' premises, as well as alongside your whole last mile, to the extent that everything is functioning well. So we are also tracking TCP retransmits, and we are also measuring. Let me see if it will be working well here. Yeah. So you can see the different locations where traffic is flowing. So LibreQoS is optimizing and provides statistics that will help you and your customer service for folks, for example, to actually see when a customer is calling, what's actually happening on your last mile, if there is any particular pop or site that has a problem, for example. There is something with retransmits, and you will be able to troubleshoot. We also offer per ASN performance view. So for example, you might be able to see how the flows are going too fastly from your network. LibreQoS 1.5 is now in beta, and it's really coming close to be released fully. We integrate LibreQoS with CRM and LMS software like Splinks, WispGate, Sonar, ISP, PowerCode, and we are working on adding Gaia and Wisp. As for people are asking about the hardware, and per middle box right now, we were able successfully test boxes that can work with 100 gigabit GBps of the data. We do believe that there is a hardware limit currently at 400 Gbps per box, but with NIC hardware offloads, this can be overcome, and as the situation with the computing and as such will improve, we might reach even higher performance per box in the future. So LibreQoS, we are leveraging Rust, C, Python, eBPF, and Cake. And the core product is open source. Currently, we are so the numbers say here in presentation says 500, over 500 ISPs. But the last time I checked, today it was way more than 600 ISPs all around the world. When you see the map overview, then you can see that we are literally everywhere. We are not in Arctics or Antarctica yet, but we hope to get there as well. We are obviously in Brazil and other parts of Latin America. If you ask what's the biggest number of users in a country, currently it's Philippines. So, like I said, LibreQoS is free and open source, and we are trying to help ISPs all around the world. There are also other tools that we like to recommend to people to measure how their network is actually performing. So there are tools that were built or helped to get built by our colleague and friend Dave Tacht. For example, Flint. There is iPerf2, built and maintained by a really great guy, Rob McMahon. And there is Crusader XTP2. There is network quality tool from Apple. And there is also, like you can see the screenshot from Ookla speed test. And there is another wonderful tool that we are using the most, and that's waveform bufferbolt. It was used on the screenshots that were showing the performance of networks using LibreQoS at the previous slides. So we are supported in our effort by two big helping hands. One is Nullnet, which is open source fund started by European Union, and the other company that was helping us with bare metal and VMs, it's Equinix. We obviously working on monetization, so we would like to find a way how to get sustainable and to stand on our own and be able to work on improving LibreQoS for all the ISPs in the world and their customers in the future without the need of support of Nullnet. So we are working on that, and we will keep you posted, and we will try to bring that and improve that paid features. So as we are Lightning rather is happening in Sao Paulo, Brazil right now. So there is probably Diorges Rocha, an ISP that he's running GIS.net ISP at, and I have written it down at Itapora, Mato Grosso do Sul, Brazil, right? So he was one of the first ISPs in Brazil that started to use LibreQoS, and he's the living example of how big LibreQoS can be an improvement for any ISP network out there. This will be the sad part for me. Our beloved Dave Tacht passed away suddenly, sadly, in the beginning of April. Like I said, he was a co-creator of Codel, FQ Codel and Cake, leading voice of this fight against bufferbolt, latency, and jitter, big contributor to Linux, OpenWRT, and more open source projects He was our chief science officer. He was working closely with FCC on improvements on many fronts. For example, he was fighting FCC back then when they were trying to prevent people from flashing their routers at home or their offices with something like OpenWRT. He was also pointing out that so-called net neutrality law in the US, or regulation rather in the US, was not that big political thing, but it was also a technical problem in the end, and the culprit of it was Bufferbolt, and he was offering people actually how to solve that using these wonderful open source tools. So we miss you, Dave. We are really thankful for a chance to present you our open source solution today. We would like to see you amongst us at our community. Please come over and give it a try. LibreQoE is free and open source. You will find us on GitHub. There are other things that I would like to mention. If you want to really learn way more about this Bufferbolt latency and jitter problem, there is What Can I Do About Bufferbolt site on bufferbolt.net, and you will find all the wonderful solutions, suggestions, and tools over there. There is also PhD thesis written by Toke Hoyland Jorgensen, one of Dave's cooperators from the past. It's called Bufferbolt and Beyond. You can order free physical copies. They will send it over to pretty much any part of the world. You can also download a PDF. There are also suggestions for you guys to use good routers. So use anything that can be flashed with OpenWRT. Flash your old routers with OpenWRT. You can also use Turis Omnia. I used to work with Turis. It was and it still is really powerful and secure. On top of that, OpenWRT router. There is also GLINet. It's a company from Hong Kong, and they are able to build really good OpenWRT routers. Dave Tech was working with them closely. There is also easy and cheap option. There is MikroTik. It's not open source, but you can really get a good MikroTik router for quite cheap, and they are supporting FQKernel and Cake. They were actually one of the very first mainstream manufacturers, vendors that implemented FQKernel and Cake. There is also a new company at Borg. It's called Alta Labs, and they were the last company so far that implemented Cake. Then there is RFC 8290, and we would like to suggest all of you to study that wonderful RFC and to actually use it. And last but not least, my great colleague Herbert Wolverson, he is also amazing writer. So even though I'm not a programmer, I like to read his books. So this is the last book that he has written, and it's called Advanced Hands on Rust. And if you are interested in Rust, you should definitely check it out. Thank you very much for having us, and I will be happy to take your questions.
Muchas gracias a Frank por la presentación. No sé si tenemos preguntas, comentarios, consideraciones, ya sea por parte del público presente u online también. Adelante. Por allá tenemos una pregunta. Les pedimos que se identifiquen con su nombre.
Hi, Giordano here from Dominican Republic.
Soy Giordano de la República Dominicana,
About the integration with the current billing system, etc.
del sistema.
1 year ago, something like that, I saw that you have a shaped system or something like that, like a CSV file for shaping the circuits. I want to know if you already have API integration or an API that we can just use that to provide the circuits to the middle box. And like when I put a new circuit, just call our API and just not like rewrite the shaped files CSV. More. Okay. Do you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So we have.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Is there a problem with my mic?
¿Hay algún problema con el micrófono?
Thanks for your question. We are working on an API, but currently you need to update IP addresses through the CRMs, right?
Yeah.
But we also offer an option for the people that don't have like any CRMs that we are supporting currently, and you can basically build a CVS, as you said. So it's rather easy, and people are running scripts to do that anyway. So it's doable.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank, I have a question from Carlos Martinez from Zoom. He says, in which versions of MikroTik's router OS is Cake available?
It was available since really early. So if Cake was out in 2018 or 2019, MikroTik was probably the very first public open source vendor that got it in. So basically anything that might be on the market and it's like 5-6 years old. So any of these router OSCs that are out there for 5-6 years should have it.
Bien, muchas gracias, Frank.
Okay, thank you, Frank. I want to thank all the participants and all the speakers in LACNIC's technical forum, as well as the people here. So with this, we put an end to the technical forum. Tomorrow we'll start at 9:30 a.m. in this last day of LACNIC 43. Thank you.